Good morning and welcome to Daily Game Design. I think yesterday I stumbled across an idea that surprised me, and what I think is interesting about it is that it's a kind of reversion to an older iteration of the game, Sugar Shack, and I'll get to that soon. But I thought I just want to take my turn in the White Castle. And it looks to me like the White Castle, and I think most games, they're really about noticing important things. And there's just a good lesson there. I feel like I have failed to notice some important things recently. Whether it's in relationships or friendships in general. I do feel like I remember the short story To Build a Fire. This is Jack London. I for some reason have loved that little story. It's pretty dark. I mean, as a situation, it's really terrible. But something about it really stood out to me. I'm gonna go there real quick. But that kind of environment To Build a Fire, which is up in the Yukon, I believe. It's about this guy that sets out, I think, between towns. Yeah. I wonder if I can find the moment that really stood out to me. It might be right toward the beginning. I'm gonna read some of it. I'm gonna make this a little bit of a story time because there's a moment in here that I have very much appreciated, and I don't think I've misremembered it. So this is going to become an audiobook presented by Scott Cable. This is To Build a Fire by Jack London. I hope my voice is not too irritating for you. Day had broken cold and gray, exceedingly cold and gray, when the man turned aside from the main Yukon Trail and climbed the high earth bank where a dim and little traveled trail led eastward through the fat spruce timberland. It was a steep bank, and he paused for breath at the top, excusing the act to himself by looking at his watch. It was 9 o'clock. There was no sun nor hint of sun, though there was not a cloud in the sky. It was a clear day, and yet there seemed an intangible pall over the face of things, a subtle gloom that made the day dark. And that was due to the absence of sun. This fact did not worry the man. He was used to the lack of sun. It had been days since he had seen the sun, and he knew that a few more days must pass before the cheerful orb, due south, would just peep above the skyline and dip immediately from view. The man flung a look back along the way he had come. Man, this guy's a master. Come on, Jack London, make it happen. The Yukon lay a mile wide and hidden under 3 feet of ice. On top of this ice were as many feet of snow. It was all pure white, rolling in gentle undulations, where the ice jams of the freeze-up had formed. North and south, as far as his eye could see, it was unbroken white, save for a dark hairline that curved and twisted from around the spruce-covered island to the south, and that curved and twisted away into the north, where it disappeared behind another spruce-covered island. This dark hairline was the trail, the main trail, that led south 500 miles to Chilkoot Pass, Daya, and Saltwater. That led north 70 miles to Dawson, and that led north 70 miles to Dawson, and still on to the north 1,000 miles to Nulato, and finally to St. Michael on Bering Sea, 1,000 miles and half 1,000 more. But all this, the mysterious, far-reaching hairline trail, the absence of the sun from the sky, the tremendous cold, and the strangeness and weirdness of it all had made no impression on the man. It was not because he was long used to it. He was a newcomer in the land. Chechaquo, and this was his first winter. The trouble with him... Okay, I think this might be it, actually. Yes, this is exactly it. The trouble with him was that he was without imagination. He was quick and alert in the things of life, but only in the things and not in the significances. 50 degrees below zero meant 80 odd degrees of frost. Such fact impressed him as being cold and uncomfortable, and that was all. Yikes. Yeah. Such fact impressed him as being cold and uncomfortable, and that was all. It did not lead him to meditate upon the creature of temperature and upon man's frailty in general, able only to live within certain narrow limits of heat and cold. And from there on, it did not lead him to the conjectural field of immortality and man's place in the universe. 50 degrees below zero stood for a bite of frost that hurt and that must be guarded against by the use of mittens, ear flaps, warm moccasins, and thick socks. Precisely 50 degrees below zero. That there should be anything more to it than that was a thought that never entered his head. So even, from my earliest readings of this story, I'm sad to see my connection is unstable. This idea impressed me, this observation. The trouble with him was that he was without imagination. He was, but only in the things and not in the significances. And I feel like I get caught up there. Like I feel I'm not very often very sensitive to the significances of things. I see that happened. I understood that was an event. I can see this behavior. I noticed this pattern, but I have such a hard time understanding what it means. What is its significance? What is it meant to tell me? I have no idea. So, anyway, that's actually an interesting thing about getting caught up in board games and loving this hobby, getting to know this hobby is it's practice caring about significance, isn't it? But yeah, I think that's an interesting problem. Things taking in so much information, so much data, and trying to make sense of it is a really cool, huge human problem. And I do believe, in some ways I've been failing, in some ways I've been succeeding these days. Wow. This connection is really struggling. So I'm going to look around this board for a few minutes and then I'm going to jump back into Sugar Shack. So I knew one thing I wanted to do was very early on gardening. Yeah, this connection is way too unstable today. The weather's been crazy too. It's been raining a lot this morning. It was coming down really hard 20 minutes ago. Ah, there it goes again. Yeah, yikes. I'll just take my turn here and then move on to Sugar Shack. Okay, one thing I know I wanted to do. Oh, did I want to chain? I think I wanted to chain these. Yeah, and I think I can. Yeah, okay. I can. So this is how it's gonna work. I'm gonna have to spend the money for it. Okay. So, I think I also wanted a way to garden twice. Was there a way to do that? I don't think so. Oh. No, it's money. I can't afford this stuff. Yeah, no matter what, I'm not going to be able to afford that. But I'll be able to garden. What in the world? I think as my last action, I'll garden. Okay, let's do it. We go here. Use. Oh. Interesting. So I could actually. Do the courtier action too. It might feel really costly. Yeah, I'll save that for later, I guess. There's still one more turn this round, so I'll just go here. Pay a money. That's the sad thing, is paying that. Get all this stuff. And that's going to let me take the warrior action. So I'm going to come up and do the 3 here. It's weird that this was a thing that, I mean, maybe it's not that weird, but that the warrior action sets you up to take another warrior action. I do feel like that's a little bit weird. Gain 3 money. Okay, then I'm really set up for the gardening action. I don't have money to do anything. Ooh. Actually, I actually could have the money if I need it, because I have these daimyo tokens. Anyway, that's my turn for the White Castle. I think that's it for the games I'm involved in right now. Yeah. Played a pretty fun game of Clank Catacombs last night. So Jim bought the expansion, the recently delivered expansion. At least he got it from Armchair. Sounds like he's played Clank a lot. Specifically that copy of Clank Catacombs. And so we had a nice time getting to know that. There was a very totally essential idea that I missed and or forgot. And that was, well, in Clank you it's a deck building game, and in Catacombs everybody starts, you all have this adventure that's going to start in this one location, and then what you do is you go exploring. You spread out and explore, and what that means is you step off the map and you flip over a new tile, and so the map keeps getting bigger and bigger. It actually starts in one central tile, and that's and so you're going around this, it's dungeon kind of a thing, and you're looking for treasure. You're getting money to buy powerful tools. You're traveling around fighting monsters, and anyway, so, and there's this deck, this row of cards that you're buying cards out of to improve your deck, or you're fighting monsters in that row. It's a clever game. It's really well done. And the expansion added a different area that you can like jump into, the underworld, and you're supposed to go down and pick up really cool stuff and fight some more cool stuff. And yeah, we had a nice time with that. But a key idea in the game is that, why is that such a different size? Is it? So a key part of the game is that there are artifacts, and those artifacts are worth a lot of points, and the point value of each artifact is different, and as you reveal tiles, you reveal more and more valuable artifacts. They're actually stacked, and when you reveal a tile, it shows a space where you're supposed to put an artifact, and those artifacts are stacked by value. So the earlier the artifact comes out, the less valuable it is. So the more you explore, the more tiles you flip, the longer you spend in the dungeon, the more likely you are to get a more valuable artifact. Well, then there's this big problem of regularly throughout the game there's a mechanic where on the cards, there's on some of the cards in this massive deck, there is a dragon symbol, and when it goes up, you pull cubes from a bag. The cubes get into the bag because you are making noise. You're adding clank and you're possibly disturbing this dragon. And so you add cubes to this pool. That pool gets put in the bag, and then you shake the bag and you pull out cubes. And if your color is pulled, that's a damage for your character. If you and then there's a track that you fill up with these cubes. So if you take enough damage cubes so that it fills that track, your character dies or gets knocked out. It gets knocked out. Anyway, so the longer you stay in the dungeon, the more likely you are to get knocked out for a couple of reasons. And it's just really clever. Like, the more artifacts you pick up, the more cubes you're going to start pulling for the dragon, so they're more likely to attack you. And there's other stuff going on too. Anyway, I stayed down in the underworld a little too long. Also, completely forgot that I had to have an artifact in order to get out of the dungeon. I missed that detail. And so I had to take a couple extra turns going to get an artifact that was like across the map, whereas the other guys all got out in time. And anyway, I still felt pretty good about the game, except for those, like the two, it would have taken me at least 2 turns to get out. Whereas they were just kind of sitting outside of the dungeons, pulling more cubes. Still had a really good time with it. It's just cool to see how designers try to add to an experience with expansions. That's just a cool thing. Okay, so where I left off yesterday, it was with a pretty exciting set of ideas. I'll go back to them over here. So my goal yesterday was to start thinking about how I could try to reduce the fiddliness of the game, and the sense that you just have to remember to go through a bunch of steps regularly. There's all these little processes that you have to run, and I was wondering, how can we reduce that? Like, just the sense that you're constantly have to like move some stuff around. It's not interesting. You just have to remember to do it. So reduce the fiddliness and processing steps in the game. The source of those steps, at least in the model I was using, was that you place out workers, and then you have to bring them back to your player board, and then after that, you're going to run your Sugar Shack. This is a much simplified version of things compared to how it was before. I mean, the way that you had to manage those. So things are the way they are now because of streamlining, and I think there are really, really positive changes here because of that. At the same time, having that round structure, because that's essentially what happens. The game, you place out your workers. That's the end of the round. You only have 2 or 3 workers, especially at the start of the game. So rounds, you place out you might take 1 turn, and then you have to run your Sugar Shack. And you might take 1 turn, run your Sugar Shack. Take 2 turns, run your Sugar Shack. So there's a lot of just like moving stuff around. That's not interesting. So I started wondering, how can we reduce that? Well, one way is if the thought I had was, what if there was a way during your turn, or that you had the choice to go out here and place a worker on the sugar bush? What would that do? Well, first of all, it makes a player feel like they're doing something, right? Like they're choosing. They're the ones who are taking the step to go out and gather sap, rather than just, here's one more thing that automatically happens. Like, that's weird, right? That you would just automatically get sap for no reason. Not that the theme really stands out here, but maybe there was another way to handle that. So so I thought, okay, what does this do? It actually makes it actually makes the round structure or what it does is it makes obsolete it what's a good way to say this? It lets us abandon this kind of start and stop feeling in the game. So if I give you one more worker, you get a little more flexibility over what you can do on your turn, especially at the start of the game. That's important because, as many players have pointed out, it's a little bit odd that there are not more one meeple locations. Wait, this is an outdated card. I think I'm removing this meeple. Let me just cross this out just to remind myself. Oh. That's fine. Okay. Cool. Okay, so I felt like there wasn't really enough flexibility. There weren't enough options here at the start of the game or throughout the game. Just not enough options. Okay, so having 3 meeples at the start expands things a little bit. It still doesn't mean you're going to take many turns. At the most, with 3 meeples, you could take 3 turns. But not like both players probably would not be able to take more than 2 turns. The reason is because one of them is going to take one of these 1 meeple actions, the other's going to take the other one, or one of the other ones, and so you'd be wasting a worker anyway. If, let's see, we give them 3 workers, then it gives them a little more flexibility at the beginning of the game. If we give them 3 workers at the beginning of the game, it gives them a little more flexibility. That might feel a little better. The other thing is that now the round structure disappears because players can spend their meeples in different ways. So, in other words, we're not necessarily going to run out of meeples at the same time, right? And so it would look something like this. So let's say, yeah, let me kind of clear things off a little bit. Okay, so this is a starting, let's say this is the starting situation. And I am leaving these cards out. So town is going to change, not in the sense that it's going to get revealed. I'm not going to add cards, but I am going to flip over cards. I'm going to try that. Okay. Okay, so it really does look like I'm gonna get 2. Let's say I want to get. I'm gonna get an extra meeple, so I'll go over here. Shoot. I wonder if these are definitely better. Anyway, I'll probably need to revisit these. Okay, so place 2, roll the die. Well, first of all, I get an extra worker. And I roll the 4, so I get an extra cube. So I get 2 cubes. Okay. Let's say this. Like, why would you not do this? I feel like you would definitely do this then. And maybe it's just a festival of going out and yeah, so this one gains an extra worker too. And then rolls. Okay, gets 2 extra workers. So it your workers, so wait a second here. I think I'll go here. And then this one can go here for $3. Starting at 3 to 3, cool. Okay, now the recall step. So first of all, refill. This is actually going to be kind of crazy as a second turn, or as a second reset or something. I don't know what to call this, but it's just an action. Okay, so I get the 3 back. Actually, what's not great about this, so I think meeples do have to be specific colors in this case. Yeah, I think, well, because when I recall, it's going to potentially open up yeah, since we're not clearing off at the same time necessarily. Wow, 5 meeples at the start of the game is insane. So I'm going to gather and then pull any syrup. I'm going to bottle any syrup I have. Okay, so that's what's happening there. So this guy is also going to recall. And bottle. And we just continue like this. So it's back to this person's turn. So first thing, I think probably fill with 2. I think they get 2 cubes for this. I'm not sure if they actually would have done that first. Anyway, these join the pool. These join the pool. Oh, hey, Francisco. So is the mayor blocking? Yes, eventually. Right now, no. Because I'm still imagining this is the first... Like, these are still super early turns in the game. And you can notice that there are these 4 cards right here. These are still buildings that haven't been revealed yet, so... My thinking is that once they're revealed, similar to the way I was running the game previously, once all 4 cards are revealed, then the mayor starts jumping in. Yeah. I'm also trying to figure out what would be the process to reveal cards. So I think they'd probably have an icon right here. just like once that once that icon is uncovered completely, then maybe you just flip the card right away or something. I'm not really sure. But what would we flip first? Probably the hardware store. Okay. Let's have... This player needs to get some money. Go here. Actually, money, a good way to get money would have been up here, and then roll. So get 1 plus a cube. And that's a 1, so that's another $2. And then that player is going to have enough to go up to the hardware store. This guy needs to get cubes going. So mark that. And I would think the gift shop is probably next. In this case, the buildings are not revealed in a random way, but the timing of when they're revealed could potentially be different every game. Huh. I should probably change the colors of these things right now. Because how many? This guy has 1 left, this guy has 2 left. Whose turn is it? So when this player went here. Got cubes, got cubes. Let's see, went here, went here. And it's back to this player. I think you probably also want to leave your guys out as long as possible so that you're blocking spaces. Anyway, let's do this. This player is going to go to the hardware store right away. I feel like this is going to be insane. Like that was 5 already. Case spent $10 to add another worker. Yeah, I feel like that's just too crazy, but let's see what happens. Okay, this guy's out of workers. So recalling and bottling. And we're resetting to 3, not 2. Oh, you know what I could do? Because I already have 4 built. Wait, started with 3. Wait, 4 workers? That seems insane. They did start with 3. Yeah, all these are coming back. No extra workers this time, though. This is coming back. What I want to see is like a staggering, like a separation, kind of getting the timing going differently. So I think it's still this player's turn, I think. Let's go. Yeah, as I said, I think money is really important right now for this player. It's not going to be long before there's big money coming from the warehouse, but this player can do this, get $9, an extra guy for next, after the reset. I have to go run an errand. Leave a lurk up, but wondering if you're able to work in synergies of certain buildings were not to others, or is that too much? Certain buildings were next to others. Oh yeah, no, I haven't worked on something like that. No. Yeah, still feel like I'm trying to get the fundamentals figured out. Yeah. Could be interesting expansion material potentially, but yeah, I can't, at this point I can't see adding a layer like that. At least not, yeah, it's not on the horizon. Someday, potentially. Okay, so the player went over here, delivered a bunch of stuff, got $9, which is there, and it's totally out of cubes. So this one, there's just too many good ideas, Francisco. That's the problem. You have just too many good ideas. Although I did just learn that Cretaceous Rail or Rails has something where you place a worker. It'd be something like this. This is kind of what I imagine you talking about. I don't remember our discussion exactly, but in Cretaceous Rails, I don't know. You place a worker between two actions, and you get both of those actions. So it would look something like this. I think it's a 4x4 grid in that case. So they might have stolen your ideas. Where am I at? Something's wrong. I just moved stuff off and I don't remember. So I think, did this guy upgrade this time? I'm not too sure. I feel like he upgraded. Maybe not. Wait, this guy gets an extra worker for next time. I'm gonna need it to go here to fill this. Revealing. Yeah, this is awkward. I'm not sure how to bring these buildings in. I'm also still not staggered in the way I was hoping it would kind of naturally develop. But that's just first attempt here. Yeah, because the thing is, when you if let's say I place here, I reveal these, I reveal a space on this card, and it's pointing to a card, well, or let's say somebody had activated this card, and then let's say by revealing these two spaces, then I flip this card. Do we just remove these and then the Grand Office is available? Cool. Seeing more about road comes out from the two sides of each card. Links up with the road and adjacent. There's some bonus benefit. Right. Yeah, roads have been gone for a while. But that reminds me of, oh, what is it, Galactic Cruise or something, where things start getting more and more connected. And you get more and more flexibility somehow. Some lacing worker on one of the cards. Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely pretty tired today. I'm for sure gonna end fairly soon. Maybe able to sleep a little bit more. I think I was up at like 4. Slept like 5 hours maybe. But yeah, I do appreciate the ideation. And it could be the seed of your next game. You might as well take that idea and go with it. I'm gonna reset this. Okay, I need to oops. Lock the card. Okay, I was gonna change the color of the meeples. Let's give them 6 each, maybe. I have a feeling you're gonna need a lot more than this, actually. I don't know, maybe 9. I actually don't know why they're oriented this way, but there's not a whole lot I can do. Just have to rotate them. Set this up. Overrate. Maybe start with 2. Let's try that. Okay, first player. Let's see, we get 3 meeples here. 3 meeples here. Oh, I was gonna just move this out of the way and open this up from the start. A little bit why it's perfect that I have 4 meeple icons on these cards already. Because I was preparing for this moment, I think is what happened. Okay, let me save that. So I think colored meeples are actually going to be a lot more satisfying to players because they love having their own stuff. They love collecting their own things, retrieving their own things. That was one thing that really stood out. I wanted to keep the component count more manageable, and I thought it'd be kind of cool if you don't need yeah, if you didn't need to care about your own color, but this is probably the way to go. For first player marker, I don't know, I guess I was considering making the first player marker still a thing, but make it switch at the end of a round. Like what I used to call the mega rounds or the weeks. So that, let's say this player starts, takes the very first turn of the game. Then this runs out, the sugar bush runs out of cubes. Then this player starts the second round. And then finally this player again starts the third round. It might be like double first player advantage kind of a thing, or like 1.5 advantage. I don't know. Okay. Thing is, I don't know why. Well, maybe you are interested in money at the start of the game, so I'd go over here. I was thinking it's almost always going to be better. Let's go over here actually, because this might feel like a set of opening moves, and maybe not great. So gain an extra meeple, cool. So this gets placed in here still. Okay, it's this player's turn. This one is interested in extra meeples. So take an extra meeple and roll. Okay, 6. It's $2. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one should be at 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now what's this player going to do? Are they going to... go for long term? Maybe go here. Go there, earn 3. Okay. This player, let's say, goes to the warehouse, drops off a cube. Just like that. Okay, now when this player recalls their workers, so the 3 come back, right? This guy gets added, and then this cube moves over. But you have to take an action to refill it. It's not like automatic anymore. And I don't mind that. Just updating that one step seems fine. I mean, eliminating the automatic or the what to call that? The forced processing of syrup and the way the cubes move. This is another reason though why I think these cubes are gonna have to go 2 at a time rather than 1 at a time. Anyway, continuing. Both players have 4 meeples now. So 2 money and then roll. There's an extra worker. Cool. One. So $3 and a cube. What to do? I have to break up. Well, like there is no real rush. I don't know. Maybe there is. 1, 2. Because why not just go here then? Or here? Because you can get those cubes. Wait. Just get them like this. So get an extra worker. And a 4 earns 2 cubes. So, and this is an overflow. So it just becomes a discarded cube and a $1. Because I still have the question of like when to flip these cards, because they're both occupied by workers now. Maybe you kick them off and then this flips, so it's actually available now. Well, let's retrieve and then gather these. I do like how simple and smooth this is, or could be. This guy has to retrieve. So you fill that, discard whichever ones are excess, and then add from. And this guy has no cubes to add, but oh, and then this would also flip. And I think this guy goes right away, because that's a great deal. And drops all 6. Wouldn't have to though, because it's still very reasonable to go to the hardware store to get all this stuff. But it's powerful because it's possible that the other player would have blocked anyway. 2. 2 extra, and then 9, and then a cube. Okay, and then this one would flip. So I actually don't mind this. I guess I don't mind making it accessible to the next player anyway. You're still getting a little time pressure. Like you still want to care about when, you know, how this is going, how this is yeah, how this is progressing, how the sap is being drained. Now I can go to Farland Market and get some bigger money. But this one, ooh, because there's three cubes now. I think that's pretty good. I'm also not thinking to spend money to increase production, although that could happen. I think you now probably just spend money to add cubes to, I don't know, maybe it's fine that they go to the Sugar Shack still rather than the garage. Anyway, this is very promising. I am excited to see that very early experimentation seems to be, it seems like there is something to this. Anyway, I think that's it for me for today. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for joining. Have a great day. And I will I will see you soon.